Good day, podcast community. I'm Pete Kane. People call me Podcast Pete. After 300 podcasts, I've learned a lot. After a journey of 50 years, I've learned a lot. And I've learned how to start over and how to scale and grow. And I'm going to give you the 10 steps in our ecosystem. Now, this isn't just me, but I want to include my partner, Jeff Bourgeois, and you can look him up as somebody that really is dialed into the future. And that's the future is AI. But let's get back to why you should listen to this. We're going to give you a free gift, which that gift is a nice white paper on how to scale and grow. So if you're an entrepreneur, you've been struggling, just trying to get some traction out there, you're working your tail off, but you're not getting 10x growth. You're not getting scaling growth. You're not getting lifestyle freedom growth. Your business doesn't energize you. This is for you. Or if you're a nonprofit and you just haven't been able to get traction out there, haven't got the right people, the message hasn't gotten out there, and you want to 10x your growth, you want to scale the growth of your nonprofit for greater impact in your community, this is for you. Or if you are a corporate person that has built up high equity, you're making good money, 6 figures plus, but you're trapped because if you switch industries, you might as well cut that in half or more. But you have skills. You know how to operate within a corporate structure. But you want freedom. You want freedom. You want to dive in to entrepreneurship. You want to experience the lifestyle entrepreneur, but you don't know how to do it. But you have great skills. This is for you. So let me get into the first one. I want to talk with number one, which is assessments and waiting lists. It's essential every business have assessments. And if you're not sure, I want you to write down this name, Daniel Priestley. Just Google him and see. He's built 8 businesses to multi-million-dollar business. Somebody that has done it, and primarily through assessments, scorecards, waiting lists. This is essential to your growth because, one, you have to have signals out there. Signals that people say, I am interested in you. And they do it by taking an assessment. Now, that's one important part of it. Another is waiting lists. And if you can't have your capacity, your production capacity, and you don't know what that's like, and you just produce as much as you want, and so the supply is unlimited and the demand will be minimal. You have to have that in your business. And I'll give you 2 examples. One, Elon Musk. If you haven't heard of him, well, I'm sorry, but you're living life under a rock. But what he did for the Cybertruck is 1 million people gave him $100 quite a few years ago. So that was $100 million that he had that he could take to banks to build the factory. Most people produce the factory, then try to sell the car. That's not the best way to do it today. Now, could it have worked in the past? Sure, it did. But not the way we're talking today. If you have $100 million and you have a waiting list for 1 million people, that's a good sign that people are interested in buying it. So they're going to finance a factory. And they did. So creating that waiting list, that's one. The other is look at a luxury product like Rolex. If you wanted to buy a Rolex today, you're going to find a waiting list because they control the production. They don't produce unlimited. They produce a certain amount and people want. So there's more demand than there is supply. When there's more demand than there is supply, your pricing, you have pricing, I think, flexibility. And I remember years ago with, I'm trying to think of the stuffed animal. They had a limited production of them, then they went wild. The limited production of them, and I'll think of it in just a second, the price went up. When they started producing as much as they want, price went down. So in your business, like in my business, there's only 4 people that I will work with one-on-one. Limited, because that's not scalable. But the group part, which we're going to get into the 4th part of it, which is the magazine community, collaborative magazine community, we have a waiting list. And we coach that community. So there's a limited number of spots, and we only do a certain amount of magazines per month. So when we have the demand, which we will, then we will produce it. But until we have the demand and the waiting list, it doesn't get done. So always think supply and demand, and think that you in your business have to have that in your business to truly be able to get the kind of revenue that you need to grow. Because if you have unlimited of something, you have a commodity. And when you have a commodity, it's a race to the bottom. So that's on waiting list. Now, the second one, mentoring, guide, or coaching, high performance coaching. Now, let me tell you why this is important. If you look at the world's top performers, they have one thing in common. They have a coach. I'm going to go into basketball because we're in basketball season. When Michael Jordan came to Chicago, he was a proficient scorer, great player, but 0 championships. Then Jerry Krause, I think, hired a coach, a good coach, a Zen coach, the best coach in basketball history. 11 national championships and 2 as a player. What happened? He put the flow, the system. He brought the players in to work with Michael. So it was a flow that he put in place. And then 6 championships. So what happens? He gets recruited in LA. Jerry Buss brings him out to LA. What does he do? Same thing. 5 championships. Now, he had 2 of the biggest personalities in basketball, the late Kobe Bryant and Shaq. If you're not a good coach, you aren't going to be able to handle that in a room. But he got him. He figured it out. He got the flow. And when he got the team around him, and he got everybody on the same page, which a coach will do, a high performance coach, then you have a total of 11 national championships. Success leaves clues. And my last story is if you're thinking about climbing Mount Everest, what I've heard takes 2 months. Would you do it? Just going to try it by yourself? I don't think so. Your chances of succeeding are pretty slim. You hire a guide. And do you go directly up the mountain? No, you go up to base camps. So that guide knows the path to get to the first base camp. And when you get to the first base camp, that guide and that team of people get there, he assess the next part of the strategy. The weather changes. All of a sudden, he's thinking about before he was going to go up the east side of the mountain, but he's going to go up the west side of the mountain because of the weather change, because of the situations change in your business. And so think of the coach guiding you through that team of community to the next base camp. And each time that coach is assessing, looking at the situation, do we do this step, just like we're doing with our ecosystem. We're coaching you through the 10 steps. Every person has a little bit different strategy. And that's why we're able to get the results, because you're being coached through with strategy. My mentor in strategy is the Seth Godin, the best. His book just came out. This is Strategy, an unbelievable collection of the most brightest. He's written 26 books. Everybody knows of him. Everybody knows what he's capable of doing, and he has nailed it with This is Strategy. And that, my friend, is what strategy is all about. It's not just one thing you can do. It's a dialogue with your people. It's a dialogue, understanding, looking at the situation, adjusting, moving, just doing the different things, having dialogue. And that's why his book, there's no chapters. It's just rants of thought-provoking strategy to get you to think. And when you can get off the busy bus into the purpose plane and fly above distractions, you're going to be better at what you do. So have a high performance coach, a mentor, a guide to help you. And that's number 2. The third one is podcasting equals online courses, assets. So I've done over 300. If I were to tell you that, hey, podcasting is really effective, and I hadn't done any podcasting, no credibility there. You'd say, well, good, you're talking about it, but go do it. I've done 300. I had a lot of guests. I've learned a whole lot. Every single podcast I learned. Every single podcast, I am just thinking about what I learned. I'm journaling. I'm putting things on paper. Every morning for 4 hours, I do nothing but think. No sound, but I think, and I write, and I journal, and I strategize, and I implement, and I plan. And I do all these things because I'm learning every single day, and I want that learning to be able to know what I learned from the previous day, applying what I am going to put in play this day, and journaling it, writing it, thinking it. And online courses allow us to create the assets. And now, Google my name, Pete Kane, or Podcast Pete, but put the word podcast, because that's kind of what I am doing as my primary way. Like Seth Godin is blogging. Because of being dyslexic, writing was never easy for me. So I learned to talk. And then when I had a stroke, I couldn't do anything, couldn't do a digital marketing business, I had to pivot, I had to start over. And I had to come up with a new career, like we all do. The days of working for somebody for 40 years are history. You're going to have lots of jobs. I think they said the average is 7 or 8 careers over a lifetime now. So you're always going to be resetting, recharging, reassessing, changing. And you got to get used to it because the coming AI era is going to be as dramatic as electricity was 100 years ago. So if you're not aware of the changes that are happening, your future will not be as bright as those that are. But with online courses, those are assets. People can consume you. If you look at Daniel Priestley, he has a formula called 7-11-4. 7-11-4. What does that mean? 7-Eleven's a good convenience store, so think of that, and then put 4. Okay, 7-11, 7 hours. The average person has to consume 7 hours of you. So if you're out there and you don't have anything for them to consume, no assets, books, podcasts, online courses, white papers, master classes, the list goes on, magazines. If you don't have it, they can't consume you. So if somebody searches you, and they will, and they don't see anything, maybe they see a LinkedIn profile or a website, that's not enough today. Maybe it was 10 years ago, but not today. You have to have some digital real estate out there. You've got to own your name. You've got to own first page of Google, where you have plenty of content. You're on YouTube, you're on podcasts, you're online courses. And so what we do with podcasting is create those assets and create those relationships and produce and get your voice out there. So that is the next one. And let me go on to, the one I love. Be a part of something bigger. Share your story in our collaborative magazine. So, and I'm going to put this up here because I want you to see this. Let me see. There it is. Okay. Go to pkane.me/magazine. It'll be easier for you to understand. It's a collaborative magazine. It's a community. There's stories in there. There's articles in there. And it's each city. Let me repeat. Each city on Amazon Publishing. So if you search Amazon and you put Kennesaw Happenings, you'll see it. And you can buy it. And you can get it in a few days. But it's publishing on demand, and it can ship to anybody. So we do this as a community. So you can see, you can take an assessment, see if you're ready, see if you want to put a community magazine in your community, in your city. So as we get enough demand for a city, we produce a magazine, but not until then. And we only produce right now 2 a month. So we want to get it right for 1. We want to have the demand for 2. We want to be able to put that community together. I want to give you some insight that I've discovered over the last 6 months. I'd walk the community. I go out into shopping center. And I meet the businesses. Just go out there looking for stories, looking for people on the podcast, asking people about their story. And I was surprised, but not totally, how people didn't even know the person next to them. I mean, they maybe been there, knew the business was there, but they didn't know the person. You got to know your neighbor. If you are in a shopping center and you're trying to bring traffic into the shopping center, you got to know who is in the shopping center. What is their story? So you'll see the stories of everybody in the shopping center. You'll be able to say, have you met Joe next door? Oh my gosh, you won't believe what he's done. And then you share the story. Somebody's sharing your story. It's a beautiful thing. So if you go to that PeteKane.me, let me go back to it. Let me just put it up on the screen. Yes, magazine, take the assessment and see if you want to get involved in a community. All right, let me go to the next one here. Let me take this off and get this one. The next step is number, 5. Yes, Growth Day. Holy mackerel, Growth Day. I can't tell you enough about Brendon Burchard. He's built the largest community of strivers in the world, like 190 countries, 400,000 plus people, and growing every day. It's crazy because he speaks to you every single day. Here's a guy, the highest paid high performance coach in the world, biggest community. He's got a track record like nobody out there. If you, depending on which one you're looking for, Forbes or USA Today, he's either one or two. Ed Mylett and him go back and forth. But the value he creates for his community is off the chain good. You can get him every single day in a daily fire. Now, what's that mean? It means he's talking to you, giving framework that he gives to his clients, to his community. He works with billionaires, A-listers, celebrities, I think presidents. I mean, Oprah had him, Usher. Oh, the list is just endless that he has worked with because he gets results. He gets outcomes. So I'm certified, but in Growth Day, for 14 days, you can try them for free. And I think I got it on here. No, I don't. But if you go to PeteKane.me/growth day, you'll be able to get 14 days free. Then let us know that you did that, and we have a free course for you on mindset, goals, and habits. That's free to you. We want to, well, it's an affiliate program, so you can get it anywhere, but we want to reward people in our community that help us. We help you. Okay. Growth Day is like Netflix of personal development. If you're not growing each day, it's just the same concept as if a fruit stops growing and falls off a tree, it gets rotten. You have to grow as an individual. You have to grow each day, get better and better and better and better and better. And if you do it through committing to a life of personal development, your life will never be the same. So if you want to get 14 days free, go to Growth Day. Go to PeteKane.me/growth day. Okay. Then live events. Now we connect our podcasters, we connect our community, we bring them together for three things. We want to teach you how to speak, how to communicate from a platform. So we do that and we record it and we stream it and we market our clients and we connect our clients because we want you to meet people in the community. You have to do it face to face. Come on, we got to get together. So getting together, we do it on a Saturday from 10 to 11:30. That's when you get to meet each other. And I want you, Glenda Hicks, who is the most awesome person who's impacting and helping nonprofits grow and scale. She has a game of learning, gamifying learning. That's the way to learn, by playing a game and learn. But if you go to Glenda Hicks or 501cimpact.org, 501c Impact. Let me see if I have it up here. Let me give this to you because she's been at every single one. Let me see here. I know I have her because I've had her on my podcast. And yes, here we go. There we go. Glenda Hicks at 501cimpact.com. So if you want to grow your nonprofits for greater impact on your community, then you want Glenda in your camp. You want her coaching you. You want her helping you, putting her game in your nonprofit so you can learn and grow at the same time. So if you want to, we do this. If you do PeteKane.me/live, you'll see Glenda. You'll be able to see her. Or you can see her also at PeteKane.me/Glenda Hicks, and you can see her on there. So live events, connecting, learning, growing, getting together on a regular basis, and being a part of a community. Okay. The next one, See, live events. Now we have number 7. Dun, 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 dun. Why join our ambassador program? Why? Okay. I know it has my picture up there. I kind of get embarrassed. No, I don't get embarrassed, but I mean, it's not all about me. It's about the community. But I want you to understand how important an ambassador program is. Not what you might think, but what we want to do for you is help you get to marketing neutral, which means if you could put $1 in an ATM and get $5 back, how many dollars would you put in? It's a pretty obvious question, but you would put in as many as you could get. So if you can spend $1 on marketing and not have and get $10 back, you'll keep spending. And if you can help the community through ambassador, then all of a sudden you get to a point where your marketing is neutral, meaning you're not spending anything on marketing. You're just growing because you're helping the community. So being a brand ambassador, you can earn in our community 15%. You have to be on the podcast first. We don't, at this point, want ambassadors unless they understand what we do. We just don't want people that are just there to grab money and go. We want people to support the community. So you have to go through an assessment. And if you go through that assessment, and I think I can put it up here. I know I can. Okay. So to take, there it is, assessment. Scale, you take the assessment at petekane.me. So if you do that, then eventually you get on the podcast and we'll put you on YouTube and Spotify. Okay. So that is just a great program for people that have been on the podcast, part of our community. The next one, which is number 8. This is send out cards. This is a little secret. I've used it for 10 years. And I started using it because I wasn't much of a writer. So I used it because I could do pictures. I could send emotions through the mail. And so this is a physical card that we use to stay top of mind and to recognize people. So if once a month you're getting a card from somebody, you're not going to forget them. But people think, they say, well, how do you build your business? Oh, word of mouth. Well, how do you get word of mouth? Oh, it's for my clients. Hey, let me just tell you, you're not top of mind, you're not getting referrals. And if you have to keep adding value to your clients, keep touching them with value. So the cards are a way to educate and add value and be top of mind. Educate, add value, and be top of mind. And so if you want to send a free one, you just go to petekane.me, and I think the / is send out cards, but don't quote me. But if you're not sure, send me call me, email me, whatever. Let me know, and we'll get you some. But if there's a way to try it out, just to try it out. But that's one of our secret parts of how everything flows. The next one, social media amplification. I don't need to tell you about social media, but I really need to tell you that the landscape is changing, like everything. Because when I got into social media 15 years ago, it was totally different than it is today. And you have to be aware of how and what your strategy is with social media. Monica McPherry down in Florida handles it for us. But if you're interested, you go to petekane.me / I think Monica, I believe, or social media, one of the two. But I shouldn't. Well, I'll get it to you. Look, call me direct. I don't answer the phone unless you come up with my address book. So I get plenty of spam calls. I probably shouldn't put that up there, but I do. But that's my personal cell number. But if you're interested, this strategy doesn't come right away. We want to get your cash flow right, and then we got to get other things right. But then when you amplify, wow, you grow. And so that's our social media. I won't go into strategy on this call. The next one is one you've been hearing a lot about, AI. Now, let me tell you about my partner, Jeff Bourgeois. This guy is one talented individual. If you look in the dictionary under focus, his name's going to be in there. I'm just joking, but it should be in there. But he took 6-8 months off to really dive into how can people use AI to scale their business. And so he has a free course. So if you go to pkane.me/AI, you'll be able to get his free course. Free. Be able to understand it. You got to understand that AI is 80%. When I'm talking to people, I like to share. Think of it as not the end all to be all, but it's going to change everything. But think of it, AI doing 80% of your work and you're doing 20%. If you can imagine that, I had a course that was the mindset, habits, and goals. Probably before I put that course together, if I was thinking 5 years ago, it would have taken me months. I never would have done it because that wasn't my skill set. I did it in 1 minute. I gave it the right commands. I got my 12-week course. Then I just put me to the course. So 80% was done by AI, 20% was done by me. So the speed of that is how you understand how quickly things are going to be changing. So I had a person, we were at a meeting, and we came out with our Kennesaw Happenings magazine. And I was talking to him, and he was visiting Kennesaw because he had business in the mountains of Georgia. And so he, as we were talking, he says, there's nobody over here, so I wanted to kind of dip my toe into Kennesaw. I said, great. And so when we had a great conversation, and I followed up, and he said, I'll get back with you when I'm ready to move into Kennesaw. And I said, hey, you'll be too late because AI moves so fast you can't waste 1 day. Not 1 day. The longer you wait, it's compounded by 100. So that's why it's so important to take Jeff's course. And you can search him on LinkedIn, Jeff Bourgeois, Borschowa, Borschowa. So you can say, you can see how he engages, you can see how he talks about it, but he has the Catalyst crew. They're a powerhouse team of AI personalities that do specific things, very specific. So by taking this course, you'll get an idea. And then if you are ready for it, there's a monthly program with him. So each one of our steps, they're not all mine, but they're our ecosystem. They're our ecosystem for scaling and growing by 10x. So in the last podcast, not the last Podcast Academy, yes, if you want to be a podcaster, you got to learn how to monetize it. Because if you don't learn how to monetize podcasting, you're not going to be around. You'll see people that, hey, it looks good, it looks great. You get into it, and then all of a sudden, 6 months later, you're out of it because you didn't have a monetizable plan. You got to have one. Not everybody's going to grow up and be Joe Rogan right away. I mean, that guy took 50 years to get where he is, or 30 years, whatever it is. These people are working on their craft for years. You just see the end result of something like that. With Podcast Academy, we use affiliates, we use our community, we use several things. We have our team in the Philippines that produce. So we use our resources to help you monetize it. And if that's something you're interested in, if you want to be a person that loves to be curious, loves to engage, learn, grow, then podcasting may be for you. And you can go to pkane.me/podcast. I think Academy. I'm not sure on that, but you got my number. So you can always check. And then the last is the best. Buy Back Your Time, Team Trexa. Amazing person. They're in the Philippines. Trexa's in the Philippines. I've been working with her for a couple years. She has Orlando on her team out there. But what we're able to do is buy back time. Now, if you're not sure of this concept and it's the first time you've ever heard of it, go look up Dan Martell. Dan Martell. And listen to some of his content. Hear what he's saying. Understand what he's doing. Because too many of us are doing $10 activities and you'll never grow if you're doing those $10 activities, like checking email or doing things like cutting your grass. If you give that work to other people, don't be so that you got to do everything, because you can't. You have to do it as a community. Let other people benefit, and then everybody, all boats rise. So in Trex's case, she's amazing. Her graphics are off the chain. Her way she runs her business out there is crazy good. She gets it from YouTube to Spotify. I could go on and on and on and on and on about how valuable she is. But here in our ecosystem, she's not available right now to anybody. That's only people that can do it is one-on-one clients. Everybody else, you have to wait, because we are going to scale it, but we're not ready. So we have limited supply, and the demand is more than the supply. So we have to wait. So you can get on a waiting list. And then when we're able to expand strategically, then we'll let you know. So you can always get on a waiting list. And that, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe it's Team Trexa. But anyway, you can shoot me an email. I'm going to see if I can put my information up there. No, I don't have it up there. Okay. Now, so the free gift for those that stay. Dang. For those that stay, you get a gift. Go to petekane.me/PDF. Yes. And if you're interested in growing your city, go to petekane.me/magazine. Our gift to you is also masterclass. So we break this down into each step so you can understand it, because you got to understand something. You got to really dig in. You got to get off that bus of busyness of reacting and be able to think, get in that plane, be able to get purpose. Remember, pitch, problem, profit. It's the 3 P's. I know it's something like that, but Daniel Priestley, man, he's a rock star. Just look him up, follow him, get his content, understand his formula. 7-11-4. So thank you so much. If you see this as valuable, and I want those that try it, I just don't want you. Yes, you can subscribe to the channel, Pete Kane, YouTube. Just subscribe to it. Thank you. And share it with somebody you think wants to grow and scale their business. Whether they're an entrepreneur that has been struggling, whether they're a nonprofit that wants to make greater impact on their community, or you're what we call trapped in a company. You're making such great money, you're scared. You're scared to make that shift to a lifestyle entrepreneur. If you're scared, then do it. Get better on the side. Have options. And we can help you do that. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you listening. And thank you so much for sharing. Have a wonderful day. Keep growing, keep learning, keep getting better at your business. Business is a game. Win the game.